I have found that the best way to evangelize people is not by trying to prove to them the historical authenticity of the Gospels, or, you know, or whatever archaeological evidence that's found that will prove or disprove X, Y, and Z. But rather, I mean, it's really just showing Christ through by example and letting people know that you'll be there. God has used me to lead a number of the members of the LGBTQ community just by being there, smoking cigars with them, making them laugh, but also I'm always asking them, hey, how's life?
Yeah.
And praying with them. Can I pray for you? Stuff like that. And then they realize maybe there's something different. And then God plants that seed. And whether he's going to use you to water it or he's going to use someone else to water it, then you trust God.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think about Jesus, the way he reaches Zacchaeus, right? The hated betrayer of his people, little weasel in the tree. And he's like, hey, I'm coming to your house, to your party. And you get no other information. But the next thing you hear is Zacchaeus being like, I'm giving half of all I have away, and anyone else I've robbed, I will give them double. And then Jesus says, salvation has come to this house. And I'm like, we have such clear examples of how this thing is supposed to work. It's just, we complicate it so much when Jesus just loved people. And no, he didn't apologize about the truth. As you said, there's times when we have to just call it as it is. And he sometimes whipped people or got people out of the temple. But man, there's so much to be learned in that one example.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
So along those lines, I wasn't expecting to ask this, but I feel like a lot of Christian influencers have emerged in online spaces. And as a fellow creator in this space, a lot of people are celebrating like, oh, Wes Huff just went on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of CEO, and here's a guy who's like, God is gifted brilliantly, I can't even say the words. So clearly I'm not as brilliant as him. In the whole archaeological evidence, manuscript evidence for the, historicity of Jesus, all those things. Obviously we should celebrate that, but I sometimes feel like Christians kind of see that as job done, right? Our faith is now rationally credible because a guy went on a prominent podcast and making an intelligent case for it. Where are the limits of what can be accomplished online, and someone just sharing that to their atheist buddy and being like, see, where is that doing good and where is that not enough and in fact limited in many ways?
Wes Huff is a friend of mine, and he's again, like you said, he's a brilliant apologist. I think he's the director of Apologist Canada or something like that. But for him, I think he's really good at equipping other Christians, right,
mm-hmm.
with answers to questions that will be encountered from non-believers, and specifically non-believers that have their own different faith, right? Non-believers in the Christian faith, but they're practicing of another faith. And to be able to defend one's own faith, I think that's important. But I think you're right in touching. But the limited fact is that that's just meeting someone intellectually. And to be able to truly meet someone, you have to meet them at their heart, or meet them where they're at. And the videos that we make, they're great, and I'm sure there are a lot of fruits that come from it, whether it's Christians being able to feel a bit of a revival from watching one of our videos or something like that. But at the end of the day, an evangelist that just goes out into the world talking to a person one by one, I think is way more powerful than me that has my Christian videos probably got a couple 100 million views. I would, if I had to bet, I would bet that the evangelist is going out into the world and actually encountering people. He's probably doing better.
Yeah, well, it's very humble of you to say, and I will just encourage you to say that I think God is using what you're making in a very profound way. And as you said, there is a seed sowing component to it. There is a disciple making component to it where you're encouraging other followers of Jesus. But I would also say that one of the best descriptions of apologetics I've ever heard is that apologetics are not the cross. They're the shears that remove the bushes that obscure the cross.